Everyone. I'm Kendall Mead, the owner of Brandt Travel. Thank you so much for joining us today. For those of you that are not familiar with myself or Brandt Travel, I'd like to tell you a little bit about us. We have served the Roadrunner Travel Club at Robeson Ranch for the last 15 years, and we have also assisted many Robeson Ranch residents with planning individual travel like cruises, river cruises, land tours. One thing that we have learned over the years is that technology continues to be more forward facing when we travel. For example, boarding passes, itineraries, your check in for cruises, the apps that you need to use for each of the cruise lines when you're on board. These are all on your handheld devices. And so now more than ever, it is important for you to maintain your security when you travel. And it doesn't require you to be technologically savvy. It just requires us all to be a little more aware, take a few extra minutes, especially when we're in stressful times, to prevent those security risks. So I'd like to now begin the presentation and take you through some tips of the trade that we've learned over the years. And also just to remind you, using a travel professional is another advantage that you have access to. We don't charge anything for our services, but the tips that we've learned along the way can definitely benefit you while you travel. Okay, so some of the priorities when you're traveling that we always know about in the back of our mind, but often can easily forget when we're frazzled or in an environment where we're not typically feeling as comfortable. These are the things that we want to make sure we're protecting when we are traveling. First and foremost is your money, your credit cards, any banking information. If you need to log into bank accounts, protecting those logins if you're needing to pay bills while you're away. Uh, a lot of this can easily be accomplished with just taking a few moments and a few extra steps. Your overall identity, passport photos, personal information, and accounts. Your trip, bookings, itineraries, airlines, cruise accounts, and then ultimately your devices, which store a large amount of passwords often and a lot of personal information. Let's get started with travel tip number one. When you're in a public setting, we often look for public Wi-Fi so that we can, send a quick message to friends. Maybe we're going to Google or look on a map. When you use your phone's cellular data or hotspot, that is a better option than connecting to public Wi-Fi. Reason being is that public Wi-Fi often allows other folks on there to potentially browse at some of the information that you are looking at. Um, it's not a private way of sharing information. And so you want to make sure you're being protected. So if you do use public Wi-Fi, please do not do any kind of banking on there, making purchases with credit cards. That information could be seen by somebody else who has logged into that Wi-Fi network. I would recommend that you look into a VPN. I'll say that again. It's a VPN, a virtual private network. There are some free services and some that are paid. It's a simple tool that helps keep your internet activity private and safer when you're online. So think of it like a private tunnel. If your information travels over a public road, other people on that same road might be able to see parts of what you're doing. So by having that private tunnel, your information and data travels securely and hidden from other people's view. So again, looking into having a VPN, they have apps that you can add to your smart devices, also onto your computer. Tip number two. Skip public USB charging ports. I'm sure you've heard about this a little bit in the news. It has been mentioned that if you plug your device into some of these public USB charging ports, that sometimes they've been tampered with and it can actually transmit or pull information from your phone. So using a wall outlet A standard outlet with your own block charger can prevent that from happening. Also, making sure that you carry a small power bank. Of course, we recommend this to everyone when they travel. Sometimes our phones run out of juice and we can't sit down to charge them for a period of time, but by keeping a charged power bank with you, you can utilize that at airports or in public spaces safely. Turn off the auto connect feature for your Wi-Fi and your Bluetooth. Well, I know when we're at home, we often keep this on so that every time we leave and then return to our home, we automatically connect. But when you're traveling, auto join can connect you to lookalike networks. So, for example, you might be in an airport and you think you're connecting to that airport, or a hotel restaurant and you think you're connecting to that. But these criminals out there often make lookalike networks, and then you're connecting right into their hands. Turn Bluetooth off when you're not using it. That will just save you and give you additional peace of mind. Forget those networks that you don't trust anymore. So maybe you've been into an area before and you had utilized the Wi-Fi. If you have that auto connect, it might just go back on. So any of those old ones that pop up on your phone, I would just say do not trust and delete them off. On cruises, place your phone in airplane mode. This is always recommended so that you don't incur additional charges while you are at sea, and you can utilize the Wi-Fi on the ship for that application for the ship. Tip 4, pause before you click travel texts or emails. Scammers often mimic airlines, hotels, and cruise lines. And if you click those links in these fake emails that have been sent to you, you can provide them with a lot more than you'd ever think you'd like to. Don't tap links. If you receive a link inside an email that says, oh, click this link here to pay your gratuities for a cruise line, we would recommend not clicking that link through the email that you can't verify is legitimate. Going to the application or directly to the website instead, you would always be able to access your booking. When in doubt, simply call the airline or hotel using a phone number that has either been provided by your travel agent or something that you have saved on your own. I will tell you, this is something that has happened to our guests before. They Google Royal Caribbean and they think they're going to get Royal Caribbean cruise lines. And in actuality, scammers have created phone numbers and advertised them online, thinking that you will call them instead of the actual cruise line. And they have provided personal information, payment information over the phone. They've been told by them you haven't paid for certain services for your upcoming cruise. And we have had quite a few people get into some sticky situations. Luckily, they had the advocacy of our travel agency, so we could advise them of how to, recommend stop payments on some of those things and reviewing their information that they had shared and potentially shutting down some of those accounts. But these scammers are out there. They're very savvy, and they can often mimic actual companies and take advantage of you. Tip number 5, post travel updates when you get home. Real-time social media posts. I know a lot of us like to post to Facebook or maybe to Instagram. Please make sure that you wait until you return home to share all of your vacation photos. Sometimes while people are on vacation, they like to say, today I'm doing this and tomorrow I'm doing that. And if your accounts are at all available to the public, people know that you are not at home and not doing your normal routine. So share photos later and skip the I'm away, out of town posts that we typically don't really want people to be aware of. Tip number 6, watch for skimmers on ATMs and card readers. I think we've seen some of these on the media before where they place a small plastic black box over top of the actual scanner. And if you notice that when you walk up and approach an ATM and something doesn't look as though it's a part of the original configuration of that machine, do not use it. If you can reach out and grab the card slot and it feels loose, move away. Prefer bank ATMs that are inside of a branch if possible. And please make sure that you cover the keypad when entering your PIN. There are professionals that often stand on sidewalks, have ways of viewing exactly as you're typing things in. So just take an extra few moments and be a little more cautious. Tip 7, book only on trusted websites. Googling travel websites can often be a problem. As we mentioned, Googling Royal Caribbean and you assume that that's the cruise line, doesn't always end up being the case. Double checking your website addresses, spellings do matter. There are a lot of scammers out there that might create a similar website with one letter changed in the spelling because they know that's a common mistake. Um, I would say that the best recommendation for avoiding all of these pitfalls would be to contact your trusted travel advisor. We are the ones who have uh, direct links to the actual companies and contacts, and we will handle all of that for you. And that just offers you an extra protection. Tip number 8, update your phone and apps before you leave home. Sometimes updates can require a tremendous amount of power and can't be done unless you are connected to the Wi-Fi. So making sure that you update your phone before you are traveling is the best. Making sure those airline apps are up to date so that you have the full function of those while you're traveling. And it is a good idea as you get off the airplane and you take your phone out of airplane mode, just go ahead and restart your phone. Sometimes it takes a few minutes for it to recognize the location you're in. It can cause a little bit of issues for you. Any big updates that are pushed through to your phone, uh, restarting it will benefit you. I'd like to thank you all for watching today. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to your club. Over the years and the hundreds of clients that we've assisted, we have learned some pretty good tricks along the way, and we would be glad to take care of your travel to help it be as smooth as possible moving forward. As you can see from many of our tips, they are quite easy to implement and to ensure that you're staying as secure as possible while you're traveling. But we do look forward to assisting you in the future so we can make it as smooth as possible. So feel free to contact Brandt Travel. My team is ready and waiting to assist you. And if you have any additional questions about the presentation that I created for you today, please feel free to reach out. I will put our information on next so that you can contact us. Thank you again and have a wonderful rest of your meeting.